Hi, Internet. Welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel. It is Thin Lizzy Thursday, and the cough drop is dissolving in my mouth, which is unfortunate. But you know what isn't unfortunate? Thin Lizzy Thursday. What are we reacting to? I have no idea. It is the random song choice the computer is picking. I have no idea what song we are about to get into. This is completely unscripted, as evidenced by the rambling and the incoherence of the beginning of this. So what we do for first-time viewers is we pull up a number from the random generator. We look at the list of songs left to do, and the computer picks out what we're doing. So the music that we're going to listen to while we get the Thin Lizzy song is almost guaranteed not to appeal to anyone on this channel, but I freaking love it. There was this. Y'all remember Tamagotchis? Those little things where the little things, and they'd be like a digital pet you take with you and feed it and then go to sleep and stuff. There was a video game for the PlayStation that came out only in Japan, but the demo came out in America, and the demo was in Japanese, and no one knew what the hell they were doing because everything was in Japanese. But the music bopped. And so I was doing a podcast with the Salvo guys, which is on the channel, and I was saying how one of their keyboard tones sounded like the Tamagotchi soundtrack. And it made me go back and listen to the Tamagotchi soundtrack. I'm like, yeah, this shit bops. So that's what we're going to listen to while I figure out what Thin Lizzy song we're doing this week. All right. That took longer than expected. Basically, when the random computer pulls up songs... No, we're not listening to that. Get out of there. Stop it. All right. Still playing. All right. So when the random number generator pulls up songs, I have a list of everything that we need to do, and some of them take a little bit longer to find. In particular, as you've seen by the title of this video, this one is labeled bass solo. And so I didn't necessarily have as immediate access to it. But yeah, so with all the chat about Phil's bass playing in the latest episodes, the computer pulls up the bass solo, which took longer to find than expected. So I don't have to pull up lyrics for this one. We're just going to listen to a bass solo and talk about it. So here's a bass solo from Phil Lynott, a reaction to a Phil Lynott bass solo. Okay, so this is Baby Drives Me Crazy. But labeled as bass solo. Look, it's on the list, and honestly, I hadn't listened to this bass solo because I kept it as a fresh reaction. Um, but I am literally not surprised by anything that is happening in this bass solo. Um, in the sense that like Phil is playing something that is very musical and not very technical. It's something that is meant for the audience to gravitate towards and get into the rhythm of it and get into the melody of it and get sucked into his charisma as a frontman rather than necessarily, ooh, that's hard to play. Um, it's almost like if anyone saw Paul Stanley's guitar solo from the Animalized tour, it was more about riling up the crowd than showing off his skill as a player. Because Paul Stanley famously, not he's actually an underrated lead player, very good like strong melodic lines, but isn't necessarily like a virtuoso in terms of technical ability. But actually, I think he's got very good feel. And so I think with Phil, as a bassist, he has very good feel, which is honestly more important for bass. Overly technical bass, kinda, yeah, hot take, doesn't matter that much for most bands. Like you can be a really technical bassist, but like you probably should have just been riding the A. like it's you're meant to be the foundation. You're meant to be the glue holding things together. You often don't need to get fancy, and it's just like a waste of time. Um, so that said, like Phil is doing a bass solo that is good at riling the crowd up, but again isn't hard to play. But most importantly, and let me stress this again, as with the last video, the difficulty of the difficulty of it to play doesn't matter. What matters is, does it sound good? Does the crowd get into it? Do people like it? There's so much like I've often said this. The greatest guitar player in the world is some dude in his basement playing shit that nobody wants to hear. He is probably a genius. He is probably playing the most complicated thing ever created by humans musically, and it sounds like shit. This is not hard and sounds amazing. And that is ultimately what is more important. Not how hard it is to play, but how enjoyable it is to listen to. That is what is important musically. And so there are many bass players who blow Phil out of the water in terms of technical chops, but he blows them out of the water on stage and in what he chooses to play. So, yeah, let's get back to it. Yeah, I think this is sort of building my point because this is the part where it was instrumental was less than a minute. Phil is not about showing off as a bassist. He is about being a good frontman. He's a frontman who happens to play bass. He's not a bassist who happens to be a frontman. And I think that's a very important distinction to make. I said, baby, 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 baby. No good. No good. Shit. I said, baby, baby, baby. Baby. I said, baby, baby, baby. Maybe better. I said, baby, baby, baby. Nearly good. Yeah, this is labeled as a bass solo, but this is just call and response of Baby Drives Me Crazy, which is a song that is on the list. I don't think we've done that one yet. Pretty sure we haven't done Baby Drives Me Crazy yet. And I will comment on that when we get to it. I'm trying to avoid too much discussion now, just so that actually feels fresh. Is that on the list? Yes, it is. From Live and Dangerous, Baby Drives Me Crazy is on the list. we shall do it, because I do consider it a canonical song. Um, yeah, let's just finish it up. There's only a few seconds left.
I said, baby. Okay. I said, baby, baby, baby. Whoa, 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 whoa. C'est magnifique.
Yeah, I mean that is a great bass solo, but it's not great on a technical level. But that's again not important. What's great is that Phil is a showman. He is a frontman. This is a more of again a showcase of Phil as a frontman, as a showman, rather than a showcase of him as a bassist, in my opinion. In the same way, like it's very different musically, but like the Gene Simmons bass solo at Kiss shows, where he's just playing some shit that sounds evil and just is really distorted, but it's not hard. It is not hard, and then he spits the blood and it's cool. It's a part of the show. It's not about like, wow, he's really good at bass. Like, no, it's cool shit. This is cool shit, but again, not hard to play, but again, doesn't matter. Um, I mean, it's great. It's awesome. Doesn't mean that it's difficult to play. And that's not to say that it's not difficult to rile up the crowd and to have the charisma and to know what are the right choices. But but like the movement of the fingers isn't the hard part here. Um, so yeah, I liked it. It was fun. Um, there are some live tracks on the list. For anything that isn't like that doesn't have like a canonical studio version, the live version is what we have. And we did have bass solo on the list. It was there. It is gone now. So live from 1982, we did it. We listened to bass solo, but more than that, if you can believe it, folks, we are going to rank bass solo because it was on the list. Where are we going to put bass solo in terms of the grand scheme of Lizzy um, things to rank? So it's not F because it is definitely not a musical failure. I don't even think it's D rank. Like, even though I think this is like largely non-essential listening as a like you're putting together a Lizzy playlist, are you gonna put bass solo like this 2-minute track on the playlist? No, but I mean it's good. So like how high are we gonna rank bass solo? Um I mean honestly it kind of bops more than Shades of a Blue Orphanage. So this might end up being B rank, B for bass. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna put because it is good. I'm moving my hands like you can see me. I'm moving it at the bottom of B rank. B for bass solo. It'll be pinned in the comments. But here's my thing. Like it's too good to rank any lower because it is entertaining as hell. But also it's a 2-minute like bootleg bass solo. So I can't rank it too high against like actual songs. But I think like the reason I'm putting it where it is because it does showcase in a very condensed space the greatness of Phil as a frontman and that essence. And so even though there are like better examples of it, I think because it is so distilled, I couldn't put the distilled essence of Phil line at any lower than that, even if it wasn't necessarily in like the best musical context. Like it's still good. Like there was nothing bad about that, but I can't rank it any higher. It's tough to rank. I it's too cool to rank lower, but it's also not really a song because it's not even the complete Baby Drives Me Crazy. So it's like I'm putting it there. Curious to see your thoughts in the comments down below, but that is my reaction to a bass solo. Uh, Looking forward to the comments on this one. Bye, everyone.